What's up, ladies and gentlemen, it's Pop Rocks, and today we're going to be doing our first video of 2026. Can you believe it? We made it through last year pretty good. I think my first upload on this channel was in 2024. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it was late 2024. We've been uploading the best we could in 2025. Obviously, I haven't been posting in the last couple weeks. When you're seeing this, it might have even been 4, maybe 5 weeks, so about a month and a half since I posted that last video. But hey, we're here, we're back, and we're going to be talking about One Piece once again. And today I want to talk to you about Haki, because I've noticed some people on the internet do not understand or do not remember how we've been introduced to Haki, and especially with more recent developments, why things do kind of make sense if you really just think about it, not as a power scaler, but as a story, because that's what Haki is. It is a narrative device as well as a power system. So, with that out of the way, without further ado, let's get into this video about Haki. So, the first things I'm going to be talking about when it comes to Haki, at first, I'm going to be telling you about the actual first time I believe we have seen any form of this Haki, being Conquerors, Armament, and Observation. Then I will talk about a little bit of a misconception in one of those examples, and then I will tell you the first official time via the wiki, like the wiki saying it, because I've looked it up, looked at multiple things, and the wiki seems to be the general agreed upon time that we see it in actuality. And I will be talking about basically manga strictly, since filler can kind of foreshadow things that aren't quite there yet in the anime, you know, or do something that could be considered armament, observation, or whatever, but it's not, etc., etc. Same reason why you wouldn't include filler for talking about devil fruits. So to start us out, in chapter 1 of the manga, we see Shanks use Conqueror's Haki against the Lord of the Coast. Obviously, this first usage of Haki is uncontested as well. It's clearly Conqueror's. At the time, we didn't know what it was, and we figured, oh, I'm saying we as in like a first-time reader who doesn't know what Conqueror's Haki is somehow. If you don't know anything, you look at that, you just think he did the casual thing people do in anime, where they just look at something real hard, maybe flare up their power in some way, shape, or form, which is what he did, but it's specifically Conqueror's Haki, not just like using ki or chakra or something else in different power systems. But I figured we should talk about this, even though we all know it was Conqueror's Haki, I still need to mention it. Now, here's where we're going to have a little bit of debate. The first usage of Armament Haki. Now, the first official use of Armament Haki, which I'm pretty sure was named as Haki, Armament Haki, etc., was chapter, I think, 501 or 513, I can't remember the exact chapter, but it's when Sentomaru uses it on Sabaody. However, I want to talk about the first time people thought we saw Armament Haki and tell you why I don't believe that. So this first time, quote unquote, I'm talking about is Bones versus Zoro, or Mr. One versus Zoro. And people think this is when he uses Armament Haki for the first time, conscious or not, is because he couldn't cut metal. Now he can, and it's a devil fruit ability. However, this was before Haki was a major thing. Like, for all we know, maybe only Conqueror's Haki was even a thing at this point, since so far we've only seen Conquerors that's like actually been like mentioned, until Mantra for Observation later on. But still, this was pre-Haki era for Oda's writing, but he might have had maybe just Conquerors. So anyway, with that, what I'm saying is Zoro did not use armament because he is consciously thinking about a learned lesson, but he never had to put it into practicality till now. Now, I forgot the sensei's name, but it's Kuino's father, or the sensei at the dojo where Zoro lived. He basically told Zoro, a good swordsman can choose to not cut. And Zoro never understood that. But then in this fight, he's probably thinking, I need something. There's got to be some way, because he's tried more power already in this fight and it didn't work. So he thinks about that and tries to put it into practice. Immediately swipes at a branch, he can't cut the branch. He swipes at a rock, he can cut the rock. But those were similar, probably strengths of swipes, except one of them he chooses to not cut, while the other he does. This is not Zoro using Armament Haki, because how would using Armament Haki, or even Observation Haki, help him strike this branch without cutting it with the sharp side of his sword? No, I think this is Zoro actually on screen improving his swordsmanship, but so many people just say this is him using Armament Haki for the first time. It's not. It's him actively showing us Thus, he needs to improve swordsmanship, not just get more power. Good thing we're talking about Mr. One versus Zoro, however, because I'm going to now be talking about the first time we've seen observation Haki. And it's Zoro finding his sword, because in that fight, while Zoro's looking for his sword right before thinking about that lesson, that is not armor Haki, it is just him improving swordsmanship, is he can hear the quote-unquote, hear the breath of everything around him. The trees, the wind, the buildings, the rocks, the sword. And then he finds the sword. Now, this is much more agreed upon that this is the first time anybody on the crew but Zoro has used observation Haki. Because until we know for sure or not, I'm pretty sure to my knowledge, at this current point in time in the story, Zoro does not have the voice of all things. He cannot hear City Kings, he cannot hear poneglyphs, he cannot hear the Noah, like Luffy, like Roger, like Odin, like Momonosuke. He can't hear any of this shit. He does not have the voice of all things. It would have came up by now. He's been close enough to enough things that have spoken to Luffy or Momo or anybody else to the point where it should have been shown by now if he has it. So it's not the voice of all things, so it's got to be observation. And the way he does it is the way he was thinking about was hearing the breath of things. So maybe that also contributed to him applying this lesson. I could see observation Haki helping him apply this lesson easier by hearing the way it breathes, but like it's still not the only reason that he was able to like hit things and not cut them, but then hit other things the same way and cut them. I did not say this before, which I want to rectify right now. I forgot to actually mention the first time I think we saw Haki. Well, the first time we know we saw armament Haki given things after this point in the story, which is obviously Mihawk's Yoru on the Baratier, where he uses it and his sword is black. We don't know yet, but then later on, we see much later in the story, he talks about black blades and how they are pure black because of armament Haki and advanced either coding with it or long-term usage. I can't remember exactly, but either way, it's Haki. And then we can even see that black blades aren't like easy to do because his little butter knife isn't a black blade, but that's also probably because it's supposed to embarrass weak swordsmen that he doesn't even wanna, or weak opponents that he doesn't even really wanna even like give a chance to, more than just to toy with them a little bit. But that is discussions for other videos. I just forgot to mention the actual first thing of Haki, of armament Haki we've seen, so I want to say that now. Alright, so initially for this video I was going to talk further about Haki, but I actually think I'm going to stop this video here, and we will be talking about the advanced applications and the regular applications of Haki. So I guess next video you'll see from me for Haki and One Piece will be the usage and then advanced usage of Haki. So with that, I'm Papadopoulos, and I'll see y'all for the next video in 2026. As always, bye-bye.